Good morning. I wanted to have a little quick chat about actually a conversation, a video that's coming out shortly with Marissa Mull and myself, having another conversation around the impact of human design. Of course, after we have these conversations, like more things are coming up for me in terms of what I would like to share. And I know that I made a point in that video around the kind of transformative energy that is going on when human design really started to sink in, when it was really resonating and I was becoming very, attracted to wanting to know more information. And I was really taking on the system and the mechanics in a very deep way, which kind of put a layer, and it does, and it has put a layer on life. It's almost like watching the Matrix, with the zeros and the ones flashing up and down. It's like the body graph, and you see the mechanics in things and on things and around things. Like, it just becomes a layer. And initially, when I was going really deep into human design, that did impact my relationships. The perception that people wouldn't understand what I was talking about, constantly having to refer or explain or bring in what I wanted to speak about, which was human design, and bring that context into situations to point out the mechanics. But I was also learning the meanings of the mechanics and like contemplating and putting it into action. I was really actively wanting to live it. And this is to say, when human design first came into my life, I was aware of it, picked up very minor details, and I basically didn't touch it again for, I would say, about 12 months. And it was after that 12 months, like, I had gone through some cellular mutation, and then I was ready to connect with it in that deeper way. And once that hit, that's when it went very deep. And at the same time, I went through a huge transformation. A massive mutation was occurring. And so the conversations that I had with friends and family, sometimes they would rupture. There were breakdowns going through, and there were separations happening at the same time. And I had to live through a lot of grief, and really kind of hold on to my essence, I suppose. Like, while things were breaking away, you kind of get a bit confused, you maybe feel a bit crazy, you're not really sure like whether you're insane. As you start to work on this reframing around language, reframing around meaning, what it means to connect to people, and how those mechanics play out. And it's really not ever the other person or another person's fault or your fault or anything like that. It's just, we are swimming in a mire and swimming in a program, and we have programs and you have programs, and, everything around us is swimming in the program. So that's where human design and becoming aligned to your magnetic monopole, which is, your inner compass, your driver in the body, where coming into alignment helps you kind of swim strongly through the mire, right? So, like, if you are not as deeply aware of yourself, you have less of an anchor, which is when we get pulled off from transits, and we get pulled off from interactions and relationships, and we kind of like lose our cool in a way. So it's about coming and being really centered in yourself, in awareness of what you are, who you are, how you filter consciousness, that unconscious and conscious, and the quantum relationship. And once you're really anchored, then, the program, of course, it's still going to interact. Everything has a relationship, but you are just a little bit more, you can say certain, you're a little bit more certain. And I won't get into the explanation of certainty, because certainty is always changing, and the only thing you can be certain about is that we can never be certain. But that's part of that deconditioning and that process with going deep with human design, is you can reframe things and reframe your mind and really get to a place, because it's cellular mutation. So your body is literally like shedding and growing into this new vessel, which can, like, has a clearer understanding, has a better understanding around mechanics and energy, and your own anchored space in time. But yes, as for that transformational process, I did like feel like I was messing up, or things wouldn't go that well, and there was upsets and definitely broken down relationships. And you might think that that's like really toxic, and it very well might be. Maybe that's a way to look at it. But this element of mutation, like when a highly individual person like myself, maybe you, needs to make a change, that's where the program and your relationships can have you locked into an old way of being. And everybody wants to sort of stay in the safety net of that old way of being familiar with how things are. So it takes a lot of courage and a lot of bravery to step out of that, and step out of what is familiar and start to step into those big areas of growth. And again, reframing how that looks. If the relationships around you and the people around you are either trying to hold on to that, or they don't want to go with you, or they're not going in the same direction, like, it's okay for those relationships to break apart. But I will caution that for fourth line beings and for people who whose profile is really about their inner network and the opportunities that they have from their inner network, I would certainly, it's not that you should, if you have a mutation, you have to go with it. You can't really stop it. It's going to happen. It's just going to happen. But it's how you cope with it, how you manage it. And it's wise to ensure that you're continuously building a steady network and you're not sort of burning your bridges per se. So I'm talking at this totally from two angles and two ways, because I think if change and mutation is inevitable and it rocks the ship and it burns your world, then that's what's gonna happen. And if that happens, then there's always a way to pick up. There's always a way to recover. There's always lifelines and lessons and growth, and we can look at all that as essential and useful. Nothing that we do experience like in this world is unhelpful. That's what I believe. Like, that's that everything can be used as a way forward, essentially, or backwards, or upside down, or sideways. Like, all of the angles, all of the spiraling ways are fine. So with that being said, like, if you have a fourth line in your profile, do be considerate around like how or the method or the approach to rupturing your network. So you may want to be cautious around some conversations, but also like just gaining some support of people who understand maybe where you're trying to take things, or where you're growing to, what your growing edge is. That's why an analysis might be helpful, readings might be helpful, but it doesn't, I guess, like, the only thing that I would say that you would want to do is learn about your own inner authority and your own strategy, so that you can already work on to coming into alignment with that solid space within you, that magnetic monopole that's going to hold you together. So yeah, with that being said, like, that transformation that was occurring, like, it got rough, but you come through the other side. And as you're coming through the other side, like, there's just so much wisdom that I was able to gain through the experience. How I've worked with grief and leaving things behind, and the preparation to create something new and something beautiful, and something that is in alignment with relationships that align. And it's not to say that there won't be more jumps, but I think that's what that first 7 years of deconditioning with human design really is. I think it's probably one of the biggest jumps. I don't know, because I haven't done more than 7 years, so we'll be seeing. There could be more big jumps, but yeah, it feels like it was a big one, but you get through it, and that's the tale that we get to tell, and the experience that we get to share as as anybody who has gone deeply through the process, is deeply in the process, and is committed to going deeply through that process, not just reading the human design taglines or headlines, and trying to teach it or trying to share it with people, where a person doesn't really understand like how to break through those inner layers. Mutation, growth, evolution, it's highly individual, and it will break people apart from one another, and that's okay. If we what am I saying, I guess this is kind of speculative, but it's one possibility, is that we have these energies that go beyond the limitation that we view in this realm. And so even if you have a relationship breakdown in this realm, our energetic ties, I would imagine or suggest, are quite strong. And I think there are a lot of labels or a lot of ways you can look at that, and you might call them karmic relationships. You might say they're soul bonds, or there are different kind of ways of looking at it if you're thinking about having an afterlife or reincarnation or any of those things. And as you go deep again into human design, there are some really, really deep layers which suggest that we have and we don't really, do we? We really don't have any idea exactly what happens after this particular construct ends. But there are plenty of people that can, or say they have viewed that this construct is this earth plane and this earth realm, and then there are several other realms, stacks that could be accessible. So I'm sharing this point, if it makes any sense, to say that even if we feel a certain type of grief or loss in this physical realm, I would have a practice, this is me personally, I would have a practice of going into my heart and acknowledging the energetic tendrils and the vibrations that would exist beyond my expectation. And that, peace, love, and highest heart vibrations are available in all the realms. And that I find I can give myself, I guess, some faith and a sort of safe feeling in that all is not lost. Like, we can't actually lose everything. If we have a mental picture of a relationship or of a person, then it is existing somewhere. And rather than hold on to the hurt or hate or discomfort, we use that as an experience to learn from, and to let it vibrate through yourselves and process it and let it leave again. And as you let it leave, so I'm distracted. I'm at a garden and I'm about to go in. I'm always about to do something. About to go into the community garden and do the chickens, but there's people here, so they might have already done the chickens. Anyway, there's a bit of distraction. Anything that you've got like a mind construct of, you can basically attribute as a real realm that you have vision on or vision in. And to turn any pain or loss or sadness into a better memory, like to hold a higher vision of a higher memory, and sending love there and holding that memory with love, holding those people that we've lost with love, even if we feel hurt by the circumstances or the program that happened, the situations that happen. And you can basically create that world and build that world and hold it in that vibration of pure love. And that makes me feel good. I don't know. It doesn't really matter at the end of the day. When, again, you come into peace with who you are and you do that level of work to go through processing who you are and connecting in with who you are, and you go through the experiment, then it doesn't matter when other people aren't on your side or haven't displayed that they're on your side or things have broken away, because you're on your side. You're the only one that could be on your side, basically, and in the most humble way. You know, no one of us is more important than anyone else, but we're the most important person to ourselves, if we can look at it that way. And yeah, but that's the role model talking. That's my 6. To be divinely selfish, and to demonstrate that, you know, it's not out of spite or lack of care or anything for other people, but we want to help each other to be in alignment with your true self. That's how we're going to get our program and our construct working in a really like highly functional, workable mechanic. You know, it glides smoothly like something mechanical. It was when we're being our full selves. Okay, so that was a little bit of an extra to the video that I'll be putting up with Marissa Mull and I having a conversation around the impact of human design. There's always so much more that I want to say, and I would talk so much more. Yeah, I guess if I had a space like I've been talking about in many of my videos, I'm just doing what I can with what I've got, and a lot of my conversations, 99.9% of them are from the front seat of this car, because it's the best place that even with distractions I feel like I can be uninterrupted. So with that being said, I'm gonna go do the chickens. I will have lots more to say. So yes, to just recap, the point of this video was, you know, that it was actually around the transformative overhaul that can happen. And there are many of us who have gone through that before, and people who do talk about that relationships and dynamics and things start to fall away, and it can feel really brutal. It can feel really rough. It can be sad. You can be grieving. But there's a way to look at it in a really healthy way, and to acknowledge that you are coming into alignment, and there is support and help that you can get if you need to talk through it. Because this transition is, you know, we don't just suddenly become these, I don't know, one-dimensional people, where in fact we would continue to be highly nuanced and complicated people. So we all need somebody to lean on. You know, reach out and connect with people who are vibing along the path, along the line, and, you know, have conversations and, you know, allow yourself to be supported in that. So have a beautiful day. Contact me at Natural Flow Alchemy, and talk to you soon. Bye.